Some genuinely cool time mechanics make Shadwen an interesting premise at first, but even these gameplay innovations can't stop it from being an ultimately dull and disinteresting affair. Though the ability to freeze time and rewind it to quickly reverse a fail state is amazing, it doesn't help Shadwen pull itself out of bland environments and awkward AI. Playing as the titular assassin, the game starts in one of its static cutscenes as you murder the king with a young girl in tow. You're then transported back a few hours to play as Lily to begin the tutorial. It's a decent start, but the narrative fails to hold your attention for long and the environments fail to impress. You soon move on to control Shadwen herself, piecing together your grappling hook and learning the ropes of movement and how time freezes when not moving before encountering Lily again. The main premise of Shadwen appears to be whether or not you commit acts of violence in front of this girl, and how that eventually affects your relationship with her and the story. Sadly, there's simply not enough to hook you into this narrative and believe any of it really matters. True, Shadwen is a stealth game first, and the gameplay systems are what you're here for, but without any decent dressing, this is a really meagre feast. As you've now oddly taken a young girl under your grumpy wing, the game consists of escorting Lily through the levels without being seen, distracting guards by pulling down crates or boxes, or by stabbing them in the back. Despite wanting to come along with you, Lily is disgusted by such violent actions which have a bearing on the story later on. So you've the complete stealth option or the murdering option, or even a little mix of both. But both of these require you to be out of sight at all times. If a guard sees you for longer than a few seconds, then it's game over. One of the better features of Shadwen is that this failure state can be literally reversed by winding back time. There's no actual explanation as to how you can do this, but it makes the hardcore stealth element less irritating and places the focus on puzzle solving. Assisting this is how time stops when you're moving. Even in mid-air, the action will stop, enabling you to plan and execute your next move. This comes in useful especially when trying to make a series of jumps with the grappling hook. What it gives with the ability to plan out and intricately manage your abilities and movement, it destroys in atmosphere and tension. The whole point of a stealth game is the stress of remaining unseen, the way a mere video game can make you sweat and panic as you try to avoid detection, and the satisfying way you can ice bad dudes and disappear without a trace. All of that is swallowed up by the way you can rectify a mistake at a moment's notice and effectively neutralise any threat that appears in the game.
Why is it moving?
This means that Shadwen plays more like a puzzle game than the true stealth title it wishes to claim. Once you realise this, then the mechanics become more palatable and the challenge is enjoyable, but really only up to a point, as Shadwen lacks the overall story and atmosphere to keep that interest going. As a gamer who loves story, characters and all the worlds that video games like to create and put you in, I found none of Shadwen's enticing at all. This is not helped by awkward dialogue between the guards that sounds like they're giving little melodramatic mini-plays to you, sounding as natural as government-grown GMO wheat. The short exchanges between Shadwen and Lily add only the sparsest detail to each of their lives, and by the time it actually gets interesting, I was fucking bored to care.
What happened to your parents?
Kingsman took my father to work in the quarry, but that was a long time ago. And my mother? She died this spring.
Died. That's been going around.
Though you only start with a grappling hook, you can discover blueprints for other items like a decoy tool or a ground mine, enabling your particular style of play to be expanded upon. Finding the parts to create these items usually means discovering chests that are hidden away or guarded heavily. They add a few more welcome wrinkles into the mix that improve the gameplay if you're willing to go and look for them. The most egregious failing of Shadwen though is Lily. She will constantly appear in full sight of guards with no consequence before running away to a hiding space, thus ruining the idea that stealth is paramount. Then she'll either refuse to move despite the way being clear, or just brazenly run around the whole map to the exit without any guards seeing her. I mean, these guards must be the densest humans on the planet, as every sound or crate flying around the place is put down to the dark spirits.
Dark spirits, my bum.
Difficulty can be changed at any time, and at the easiest setting, guards' fields of vision is visualised by a bright cone, and the game highlights objects that can be interacted with. This scales up to hard, where nothing is highlighted, and you're left to constantly monitor the guards' whereabouts on both sites. An improvement, but just more difficult and annoying. Coming from the developers of Trine, I expected a little more quality from Shadwen. The uninteresting environments echo the bland characters, and gameplay that rarely evolves from the first few levels. You might find some enjoyment from making a purely non-violent run through the game, and a few extra items spice things up a bit, but they're never enough to make Shadwen appear other than just a passing curio, inflicted by the dark spirits.
Dark spirits, my bum.
6 out of 10.